missed us. It's beautiful out. It's a little windy, but a special thank you to everybody at 838 Park Place for hosting us all today. Beautiful, beautiful group. And to Assembly Member Latrice Walker for sponsoring this really important legislation, Bill A6739B. And for everybody here for attending today to help make New York State more resilient, sustainable, and equitable. My name is Graham Van Korf, and I work on the Deercombe Solar team at Solar One. Deercombe Solar provides technical assistance to reduce barriers and to make solar more accessible to those who have been left out of the solar industry. And one of the largest barriers that we see in our conversations with co-ops and homeowners has been the inability of low-income households, seniors, and veterans to take the New York State residential solar tax credit. We are here today to call for action to expand the New York State solar tax credit and support bills in the Assembly and in the State Senate to expand that credit. This legislation would greatly strengthen the credit by increasing the household cap from $5,000 to $10,000, a number that has not increased since 2006. It would allow energy storage projects to be included in the credit, and would eliminate the arbitrary size limit on co-ops and condos and make the tax credit fully refundable. Right now we are standing on the rooftop of a clean energy champion, 838 Park Place, the first income-restricted HDFC in New York City to install solar. Amazing. Their system reduces their common area and individual electric bills, and was paired with electric heat pumps that you can find all around the roof, parapet, for heating and cooling, and they even have a green roof. All check-ins. This synergy of all of these different systems is the present and future of New York's sustainability goals for our buildings, but many other low-income homeowners are prevented from following in their example. A truly sustainable and just energy future includes everyone, so passing this legislation to make the state solar tax credit refundable is essential to reaching that future. Today, you will hear from a diverse coalition of supporters, including the bill sponsor, Assembly Member Latrice Walker, community organizations, city officials, and members of the HDFC co-ops in this community, who will detail the urgency and importance of passing this legislation and expanding the New York State residential solar tax credit. To start us off, I would like to introduce and thank again Assembly Member Latrice Walker, representing New York State's Assembly's 55th District here in Brooklyn. Assembly Member Walker has been a consistent champion of equity and justice in New York, and we cannot thank her enough for bringing this bill forward, helping lead the way to a brighter and greener future. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Good morning, everyone. And yes, I am glad that the weather has been able to hold up so that we can enjoy this amazing rooftop. So again, I'm Latrice Walker, a little girl from Brownsville, who grew up with childhood asthma, where, of course, Linton Boulevard and Easton Parkway sort of sit through my community all the time, see the trucks up and down Linton Boulevard, and was wondering, why do we have higher incidences and rates of young people who were in the hospital who couldn't breathe due to their environment? I also grew up in a NYCHA development where in the ventilation systems they'd be filled with grime and gook, and we're trying to figure out what all this stuff is. But who knew that the buildings that we were living in were killing us? And no one seemed to care. And then, of course, there'll be these beautiful summer days, and the children and seniors are all outside and having a great time, and all of a sudden, the elevators are broken. We lived on the 18th floor in our NYCHA apartment while I was going to law school at Pace Law School, which is a environmental law school. And we couldn't understand why it was that the seniors were forced to have to walk up and down the stairs. Come to find out, we lived in a community that was on a grid, the Brownsville grid, that Con Edison had to turn the power down in our communities to near brownout levels because the pull on our grid was so exorbitant that it could not handle powering the elevators going up and down. So while everyone was saying that the elevators in NYCHA were in disrepair, people didn't realize that the real issue was the fact that there was not enough power to operate those elevators. And then there was Brookdale Hospital. And one day, Brookdale Hospital almost had to be evacuated because when that power went down, there was not enough power that was coming into our community in order to operate the chillers. And so it made the hospital almost unusable. And so somebody had to do something about it, and we worked, of course, with a number of partners in state government, as well as one of our good colleagues here from Level Solar and other friends who have worked on this block power. And we came up with this initiative called Solarize Brownsville, and had this crazy idea that maybe we could install solar panels on the Nehemiah homes within Brownsville, East New York, and Ocean Hill, Brownsville, and parts of Bed-Stuy. Communities that have some of the lowest in income families anywhere else in the state of New York, definitely in the city. And why not make it available and affordable to people who probably never thought that it was their environment who was affecting their quality of life to begin with. And so we did that, and we installed over 225 solar panels based on that project. Utilizing, yes, right? Utilizing resources from the Brooklyn Queens demand management. And so that just continued the yearn that we had to make a reality for people to come into our office to say, I got a bill in my church, it was a $0 bill. Or I got bills in my home and the electricity company owes us. But there was also some other issues that we could not get the storage, even though we had all this amazing solar panels, but a lot of it could not be stored for usage at a later time. And so again, we needed to make sure that people weren't making choices between putting food on their table and paying their utility costs. And so after that, we introduced the Assembly Bill A6739B, which of course, as we heard, will strengthen New York's residential solar tax credit for low-income families, and refundability, as we know, is the key to ensure that low-income folks and seniors are able to benefit from the program and access super cool, affordable solar power. We have strong energy goals within our state to direct at least 40% of the benefits of renewable energy to low-income communities and families, and we have to make good on these promises. So allowing more energy storage equipment to be eligible for the tax credit, we think is humongous. We also have to work very closely, of course, with the fire department in order for them to open up some of the pitfalls or red tape that would allow for us to actually install some of that energy storage. And so I'm calling on my colleagues in the legislature and in the governor's office to support this very important proposal, which we know is tried and true. We also have another development that the governor's office worked with us on in Marcus Garvey Village, where we have our own microgrid. And so we are groundbreaking here in Brooklyn. I want to say thank you to our partners here at 838 Park Place who really made this bill a reality. I said I had a lot of familiarity with this bill. It's always been a trendsetter, and today is no different in all of the amazing work that they've been able to do just with respect to housing and quality housing and owning your own housing and saying hell no to bad landlords. And so these are very pressing issues. We know that now is the time for us to double down on clean energy and equity commitments, and so let's get it done now. Again, I am Assemblymember Latrice Walker. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. Next we'll be hearing from Lee Howard, board member of 838 Park Place.
Hi, good morning. Thanks everyone for being here. As Graham said, my name is Lee Howard. I am a board member here at Co-op. This is an HDFC affordable housing co-op. We installed the solar panels, installed them in 2018, I believe, with help and partnership from Solar One. And they were installed by Brooklyn Solar Works. And I think just a few points regarding the tax refundability, the purpose of this bill. We were all, most of me and my neighbors were able to take advantage of the tax credit, $5,000 tax credit that was available through the program. However, we did have one neighbor. This is only an 8-unit building, so it's quite small. We had one neighbor who was elderly on a fixed income, and she was not able to take advantage of the tax incentive. And if this bill passes, that would mean that everyone in our building would have been able to take advantage of it. And it feels really like an accessibility issue for folks who are, for one reason or another, not able to take advantage of a tax credit. To be able to get all of the money refunded would open up the doors to a lot more solar usage, and particularly in buildings like this that are affordable housing units. One of the difficult things, probably the preeminent difficulty that we've had with the solar panels, really has been just working with Con Ed. It's a real headache and challenge at every step of the way. It took them about a year to start giving us the credits for the solar, and then since then sometimes they stop giving us credits, and we have to go back and go to their bureaucracy and sort of fight and deal with them. But we've had a lot of help to be able to do that from Solar One, which we're really grateful. And it's really made a huge difference, particularly in terms of having the solar panels in terms of our energy costs. And in the apartment that I live in with my partner, we're not tremendous consumers of energy, and so we don't pay an energy bill. Essentially, when the credits are working correctly, we haven't paid in years, and that feels like a huge gift. There's others of our neighbors who have children, they work from home, they use the heat pumps more, right? So there's variability in terms of energy usage from unit to unit, but having the solar tax credits has been a huge benefit. And I would say, just in closing, that the building's really proud of this work and of being able to be a model for other affordable housing co-ops and other buildings in general in New York City and in Brooklyn in particular. This is a legacy building. There's people who live here, who were born here and raised here and continue to live here. There's generations of people who've been here, and so it's really exciting to be able to benefit from the solar array and to be able to share it with others today.
Thanks so much, Lee. Really appreciate all of your work. Next, we'll be hearing from Stephen Levin of Solar One.
I want to thank our hosts here at 838, our place, and Assemblymember Latrice Walker. Thank you so much for your amazing, steadfast advocacy with this legislation and for creating environmental justice and environmental equity in New York City and in New York State. It's so important that we have Senator Walker as our champion in Albany. This is a great thrill. I'm Steve Levin, I'm CEO at Solar One. This is a great thrill to be here today with all of you to call for the passage of this legislation to really make solar and other renewables like battery storage truly affordable for New Yorkers. We're up here right now looking at this rooftop, which is incredible. It's incredible, but it's interesting because we're here looking. We're at the kind of rooftop level, and you can just see all of the rooftop space around us. This extends, as far as the eye can see in New York City. So much rooftop space. Every rooftop in New York City should look like this. Every single rooftop in New York City should look like this. No reason why it doesn't. There's no reason why it doesn't. It's just we need to make sure that our policies are matching our commitments. And so, a few important things you've already heard how the New York State solar tax credit expansion would bring refundability to the tax credit, would extend the tax credit beyond the $5,000 cap where it is now, which was set in 2006, which was almost 20 years ago, and we all know about inflation. The $5,000 is not nearly what it was in 2006, so that needs to be expanded. Having battery storage, that is such an important component to having a functional renewable energy ecosystem. So having the ability to store the energy that the solar panels are creating or converting from the sun is a huge would be a game changer in New York City. But they're expensive, and we need to make sure that that those systems are subject to the tax credit and the tax refundability as well. The CLCPA in New York State, which was passed in 2019, committed to 40% of the environmental benefit and economic benefit of the act going to low and moderate income communities. We're falling short of that. There's absolutely no reason why this legislation can't be put into effect to do what we can. This is the low-hanging fruit, really. This is a way to make sure that the benefits are going to the senior that you were just talking about, who that senior paid their taxes for many years, but at this point in time, they may be retired. They may not have the tax liability, but they should be able to get the credit. They should be able to get the economic credit and the financial credit to do what's right to reduce our energy consumption. And I'm looking at the building next door, and I can see the heat being emitted from the flue next door attached to that building, meaning that that boiler down in the basement of that building, that's running, that's emitting greenhouse gases. The building that we're standing on right now is where we need to be across the board. So again, I want to thank Graham, I want to thank Annika, Alonza, Mike, all of the Solar One team that's here, all of our partners, and especially Assemblymember Walker. Thank you so much. And also Stephanie Fox here from the New York City Controller's Office, Controller Brad Lambert, who's been a steadfast supporter of renewables throughout New York City for many years. Thanks, Stephanie. And Imani Williams' office. We'll hear from you guys as well.
Thanks, Steve. Next, we're going to hear from Emily Yang from the Urban Homesteading Assistance Board. You have.
So I'm Emily Yang. You have a nonprofit housing organization that creates and supports and sustains affordable housing in New York City. Our climate resiliency team connects leaders in housing development funds, corporations, cooperatives with resources so they can lead the way into a carbon-free future. Residents in affordable housing co-ops have been at the forefront in the struggle for economic justice. In 1977, Hartstone HDFC in the Lower East Side of Manhattan installed solar panels and a windmill on the rooftop. They ultimately had to remove it. They were sued by the utility company. But a landmark lawsuit led to the birth of net metering, whereby the credits that the owners generated, the utility had to credit the owners for the electricity that they added to the grid. In the years since, our co-op's Go Solar campaign, in partnership with Solar One, has connected more than 20 affordable co-ops with rooftop solar installations. Their residents will benefit from the financial stability and the long-term energy savings that solar brings, keeping their housing safe, healthy, and affordable. Historically, solar has not been accessible to everyone. Most HDFC co-ops are in neighborhoods that have been historically redlined and have seen significant disinvestment, which in turn has led to inefficient systems and deferred maintenance. Despite the long-term financial benefits of solar, many in our community struggle to cover the upfront costs of installation. And as a result, many building owners, especially those who are energy burdened and would thus benefit the most from going solar, are excluded. Expanding the New York State residential solar tax credit via bills A6739B and S596C, thank you, Assemblymember Walker, would go a long way to ensure that the benefits of rooftop solar are reaped by the communities that have been historically underserved. We work with many HDFCs that are going through that struggle right now. Has United HDFC in Washington Heights is one co-op where the expansion of solar tax credits solar, but instead they've had to prioritize the upgrade of their heating system. It should not be an either-or scenario. Affordable housing owners should be able to pair projects like solar and heat pumps and weatherize their buildings without having to pick and choose projects due to financial barriers. I'm continually inspired by the leadership that I see in buildings like 838 Marketplace HDFC and Palace Way HDFC. Please join me in welcoming our next speaker, Estelle Levin, a board member and shareholder from Palace Way HDFC. Estelle has worked tirelessly as an energy champion to get their co-op projects underway to install efficient lighting, convert to electrification, and hopefully in the future, solar.
Thank you so much, everybody. I feel humbled to be here, and I also feel like a real beginner in learning how this process works, and I wouldn't be here without you. I feel like I've gotten a whole graduate degree from their generous support. And yeah, I moved into HDFC Affordable Housing Co-op in 2019. I joined the board. And I immediately was curious as a first-time homeowner about, what was possible, because when you're a renter, it's just impossible to convince a predatory landlord to go green. So it was really exciting, and then I immediately realized all the barriers and how complicated it was, and I felt like kind of overwhelmed. And you had was able to pair us up with Solar One to see if we were a candidate, and they did an initial assessment, and it just, even though as a building, like the structure itself would have worked, the upfront cost was just way out of our budget. So it was actually Solar One who said, like, if things get better, we'll, let's pair it back up again later on down the road. And so in the interim, we started to look at heat pumps, and we're in the process of getting like a flex tech audit, and we were able to get some help covering those costs as well from NYSERDA, and UHUB has been like holding our hand every step of the way, thank goodness. But yeah, I think the idea of pairing solar with heat pumps makes a lot of sense. And this green roof is just extraordinary. It's so gorgeous. I've never seen one up close. I've only seen pictures. So congratulations. And yeah, I think that the refundability, I think, would make a huge difference for a building like ours, and probably for a lot of other people living in affordable housing. So crossing my fingers.
Thank you so much, Estelle. Next up, we'll be hearing from Stephen Levin of Build Solar.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Stephen Roundtree. I'm a Deputy Program Director for the Northeast Mid-Atlantic with Build Solar, which is a national nonprofit solar advocate. I'm also a member of the Board of Directors of SCF, the Solar Industry Association. I want to first thank our host, 838 Park Place, for letting us hang on the gorgeous roof. I also want to thank Senator Walker for your constant championship of the bill and other measures over the years, and the Comptroller of the Public Advocate's Office for being here as well. Special thanks also to Solar One for organizing. I am so delighted to be joining you all this morning, to call in our legislative leaders and the governor to pass an enhanced refundable solar tax credit for solar system installation. I can't help but note that we are a diverse group of advocates here. We have environmental justice advocates, we have affordable housing champions, we also have members of the solar industry here. It's worth noting that we don't always agree. These aren't groups that always agree on everything. However, we're all here to support this measure, which is a win-win-win. We don't know. This measure is going to raise all ships for the owners, easing easing installation, growing the solar market industry, opening up opportunities for folks who are locked out of the opportunities to go solar, folks who have low or no tax liability, as others have noted, and also working with the speed and scale we're going to need to promote our climate in the future. Nationally, just to lend some national perspective, in the fight to grow renewables and deliver the benefits they bring, community scale solar and rooftop solar is what's delivering goods. It's where growth is happening and where the best year-over-year potential exists. Our leaders in Albany need to treat this sector with the attention it deserves. We can and need to aim high with our targets where we can build, and having the right policies in place, like this one, is critical. Furthermore, I'll say rooftops like this hold the key to meeting New York's climate and equity goals. Pollution from peaker plants is killing New Yorkers every year, in part because we don't have an alternative where demand for power is high. Generating power on roofs across the city and across the state can help us meet our mandates to shut down fossil plants and clean up the air we breathe every day. This is to say nothing of the difference it can make for a building that's working in a tight budget where every dollar counts. The course of action here is clear. We need to pass this bill. We need our Albany leaders to get with it, listen to the best people you've got, which are everyone here today. Make sure this bill is included in the final budget. Thank you.
Thanks, Stephen. Next up, I'd like to invite Charles Calloway of the Act.
Welcome, welcome all. My name is Charles Calloway. I work for We Act Environmental Justice, and recently I've been in charge of the Workforce Development Program. So I was here, when I look at this story, I don't know, we started in 2016. We started this program called Solar Uptown Now, where our mission was to put solar on top of affordable housing. And we didn't know how we were going to do it, but that was the mission. And now to see that these things are truly happening, that we have solar all across New York City, with solar panels and a green roof, it's just amazing. When we started up in the room, I had to go out there and knock on people's doors and convince them that they needed solar. And it was not the easiest job I've ever had. I said, this is not organized. And I told my colleague, Subsequent Mark from you may know him, this is sales. And he says, well, what are you going to do? And I said, I'm going to figure it out. And Annika and Noah around, and Stephen was there, and we got it done. It's just the beginning. It's so nice to see that we're progressing. And now we're going to get this, hopefully get this new tax out. We will get this new tax credit passed. Yeah. Right? That's the goal, right? Get it passed so that we can continue to build solar. We can continue to reduce the amount of carbon in our communities. Right? And these things need to happen. And I thank you all for being here. Thank you all. Have a good day.
Thanks, Charles. Let's get it done. Next, I'd like to hear from Stephanie Fox from the New York City Controller's Office, our manager's office.
Thank you. Thank you to Solar One. You have React, Nicaea, some removal Walker, and also all the residents of this building. Also, just want to say this group is absolutely awesome. So New York's power mix remains heavily skewed to fossil fuels, with wind and solar generating a paltry 4% of our state's power, and renewables totaling just 27% overall. To meet the legal mandate of 70% renewables by 2030 established by the CLCPA, New York must rapidly scale up renewable capacity. We need to increase wind and solar production to comply with this law. Our city's future depends on our ability to move quickly and decisively in the face of our climate crisis. Our leadership is undeniable. New York has established the most aggressive framework for addressing climate change while creating good, green jobs at the local level, the local M87 locally, and CLCPA statewide. And accelerating renewable energy generation is critical to addressing the climate crisis. While New York City does not have much room for commercial solar or wind farms, we do have an abundance of one resource: rooftops. An important way to support the increased rooftop solar adoption is very simple: make it more affordable. Which is why we're here today. The proposed changes to the state's solar tax credit will increase the household cap from $5,000 to $10,000, which is a significant amount for many households, and improve solar equity by making sure the tax credit is refundable for low and moderate income households that face the largest financial barriers to solar integration. Now, for local income households, this boost can mean the difference between adopting solar energy or continuing to rely on fossil fuels. It's an investment in their financial stability and our collective future. This proposal aligns with Councilor Lander's proposal for public solar in New York City, a new incentive to ramp up small and mid-sized rooftop solar installations in New York City by accelerating the deployment of 31 megawatts of rooftop solar and providing 20% household savings for 5,000 low-income and historically marginalized households in New York City as part of its pilot program. We're excited to have submitted a grant application to EPA Solar for All program to implement public solar in New York. And beyond the federal grant itself, we hope to eventually use municipal finance to support the program in the long term. Save dollars to build our libraries, public schools, and public water supply. The expansion of solar tax credits will be a boon not only to this program, but also for the solar industry here. A better expanded solar tax credit is not only good for the climate, it's also good for the economy. Tax credit would help create as many as 13,000 green jobs with good labor standards. This bill would significantly improve the market for solar at a time where we need all the tools at disposal for increase clean energy. And the urgency is palpable. Climate change threatens our planet and our vulnerable communities bear the brunt. Extreme weather events, rising sea levels, air pollution disproportionately impacting low-income neighborhoods. Every dollar we invest in helping low-income people get solar is an investment in decades of energy savings. That's why we need to raise the credit, and we can't afford to wait. Imagine a ripple spreading across our state. A ripple of cleaner air, lower energy bills, and empowered communities, where solar's open communities that need it most. Imagine a future where solar panels adorn rooftops from Brooklyn to Buffalo, where every New Yorker has a stake in our renewable energy future. This proposal isn't just about tax credits. It's about justice, equity, and resilience. It's about ensuring that solar energy isn't just electric, but a right for all. Let's seize this moment, invest in our people, and lead the way to a brighter, greener New York. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And to close us out, we have David Kahn from the New York City Public Advocate's Office.
Hi everyone, my name is David. I am the organizer for Infrastructure and Environmental Justice at the Office of the New York City Public Advocate's Office, Jumana D. Williams. Coming from a grassroots organizing background, this public advocate and our office organizes closely with community groups and other advocates to identify issues and uplift the voices of New Yorkers to the city and state level. And New Yorkers want to be part of the fight to curb climate change. We know the risks and we've seen the effects of the change of climate, like t-shirt winters and red skies. It's clear as day now. So all around the city, constituents tell us they want to be part of the solution. They want to be rid of pollution in their homes, and they want the savings that they've heard are supposed to come with renewable energy. But they say to us that currently it is too cost prohibitive for them to make any kind of installations. As New York State's Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act looms over us, we still have a long way and a short amount of time to meet the mandated climate goals, including running on 70% renewable energy by 2030. Furthermore, New York City has both internally set targets and legally mandated requirements. Both former Mayor de Blasio and Mayor Adams' office set a goal of 1,000 megawatts of solar power in New York City by 2030. The city has been trying since 2014 to expand to meet that solar energy usage, but as of 2022, we are only 43% of the way to a 2030 goal. The city and state are falling behind on their goals. Expanding New York's residential solar tax credit to be accessible for all, not only the few, just makes sense. It makes sense for bettering the quality of life, it makes sense for climate goals. If people want to help their neighbors and help their planet, they should be allowed to do so. If we are to address this crisis and meet the goals of the CLCPA that the state committed to 5 years ago, we need to get rid of the tax incentives that, we need to get rid of the tax incentives that still fuel the fossil fuel industry. We need to get rid of these subsidies that continue to allow fossil fuel expansion to be a profitable business practice And we need to instead implement incentives that encourage greener, sustainable practices at affordable prices, not just for the wealthy, but for everyone. Thank you.
And thank you, everybody, for coming out today and standing with us on this windy, slightly cold roof, but at least no rain. I would like to thank especially 838 Park Place for hosting everybody and for continuing to champion environmental justice and clean energy. I'd like to thank Assembly Member Walker for introducing the legislation. It's so great to have you here. And everyone else for coming out today and speaking. We need more solar in New York, and we need all New Yorkers to be able to get it. There's a lot of work to do. We need to make sure that this legislation is included in the governor's budget. Please call and message your state representatives to get the word out. If you are unsure of how to make your voice heard and want to find other ways to help, you can find more information at actionable items at www.solarunitedneighbors.org, or you can reach out to us at SolarOne at herecomesolar@solar1.org. Thank you again, everyone, for coming out today. Big round of applause for everybody. That concludes the speaking portion, but feel free to hang out. We can talk about more ways to get this done, and if you want some information about this beautiful roof, we can do a very informal roof tour. But thanks everybody for coming out today. It's been great.
Speakers, don't leave. Speakers, don't leave. I want to get a quick picture with the board.
Alonzo, can I go in front of you because you're taller?
Okay, can you guys come forward a little bit? Okay, the last four turn sideways because we can't see everybody. There you go. All right, Graham, get a little closer. There you go. We have the banner? Yeah. Okay, one more, just going to move the